Stephen Reid from Michell Wool. Welcome back on Flow.
Thank you very much, Ricky.
Okay, well, Ukraine, Russia has made their move. They're moving in. We've been watching this for some time. We were less concerned about wool than maybe other markets and which movements there might be on this front. Has there been any noticeable movement on the markets after this crisis really hit a pointy end?
Look, it's hard to join the dots between what happens in Ukraine, flow onto Europe, flow onto consumer demand for apparel, but wool prices have actually been surprisingly strong. So it was a solid market, a lot of wool sold, very little passed in, and the indicators went up a couple of cents.
Well, across the last sort of year or so, we're certainly seeing around the same time this year as last year a much improved wool price. So things have been improving, I guess, more so because pandemic restrictions are lifting and people are getting out and about.
Exactly right, and I can't see you clearly on radio, but I suspect you're buying new clothes to go out and do your thing. People have got to refurbish their wardrobes. So again, put Ukraine and what's happening in Europe aside, there is strong demand for apparel and a bit of a catch-up buying going on.
And so when it comes to what was up for auction last week and even coming up into this week, are we seeing still decent volumes put up for auction?
Absolutely, 46 to 50,000 bales every week. Pass-in rates are pretty reasonable, between 10 and 12%. Indicators are heading up, so growers are turning wool into cash. Possibly the biggest issue on the radar is logistics, and I think we've touched on this a couple of times, but trying to get hold of trucks to bring stuff in, trying to get hold of trucks to take it out, getting containers to move it around the world, relying on shipping companies to actually deliver it is a big issue.
And I suppose for the farmer, though, the logistics isn't as much of a headache if he can bank himself a decent price for what he's putting on the truck. It doesn't matter when it gets there from his point of view. And is that about right?
No, I think growers got to look at the bigger picture. Let's look at our own perspective here at Michelle's. If we can't get a container to leave the property and the building and the factory, then we can't actually clear the shed. If we can't clear the shed, we can't run the plant. If you can't run the plant, you don't buy wool. So as simple as it is to say from a grower's perspective, turn wool into cash, you need the whole supply chain to work.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And growers can't influence that. That's our job, and that's what we get paid to do. But there is a bigger picture to think about.
Yeah, it is a good point, is because we report across the program on a number of other commodities, including, say, sheep and beef meat. And when you look at when processors come out of the system, as in they're not buying, suddenly things get a bit funny on the market front. You've got that demand side that becomes a problem.
Oh, exactly right. And to give a simplistic example, but it's relevant, is there's quite a decent factory in Egypt, which is owned by the Italians. They're providing textiles into the European and American market. To try and ship to Egypt at the moment, it's taking 12 weeks. It used to take 4. Shipping companies are offloading the goods in Sri Lanka and Morocco and Malta, which are probably great places to go for a holiday, but I'm not sure why you unload containers. And the cost of doing it used to be $1,200 a container. Now it's $22,000 a container. So that's got to flow on either to expensive or more expensive garments or cheaper raw material. So that kind of whole supply chain is an issue, and it will impact growers. There's nothing they can do about it. That's our job, but it's something to be aware of.
All right, and what are we looking at in terms of actual numbers up for auction this week? You think any of those might be pulled back?
No, I think growers are keen to sell. We've got almost 48,000 bales up against next week over the weekend. Some will be withdrawn. So I think from a farmer's perspective, which is probably most people listening to this, it's steady as it goes, but keep your ears open.
All right, we'll certainly do that here on Flow FM. Thanks, Stephen, for your report today. Appreciate that, and have a great weekend.
You too, mate. Thanks.